Hello, BookTube, and welcome to day Castor and Pollux of Vlogmas. I don't know. I'll have my extensive editorial team fix it in post, whichever day it is. But I wanted to do another Vlogmas out on the road since I have pants on. And behind me is Boston's Horticultural Hall. Not exactly a massive tourist attraction like its sister building, Symphony Hall, across the street. Most people don't know Horticultural Hall or anything about it. It was built a year after Symphony Hall by a considerably less talented but more playful architectural firm. I know you can't tell from the building right there that we're talking about anything playful, but if you look at the rest of their work, you'll see this one they did in a very classical style. And it's a beautiful building on the outside and on the inside. And for years and years, as you can tell from its name, it was the locus here in Boston for a whole bunch of uber nerdy, learned societies, horticultural people who used to descend on the hall on a regular basis for the flower shows and rare breed exhibits that are the only source of joy in those people's hopeless little lives. But one other thing that Horticultural Hall always did, because it boasts a huge auditorium, or at least huge for its day, was that Horticultural Hall in its day, in the early part of the 20th century, was the center of the internet here in Boston and on a large chunk of the eastern seacoast. Once upon a time, before mass entertainment, before cathode rays, before radio even, the internet was lecture circuits. They were huge. It would be hard to explain to a 21st century audience how big they were, except maybe if any of you have ever been to a megastar lecture like Jordan Peterson. Imagine that, only for every major intellectual on every subject. People lined up, tickets sold out, auditoriums filled for lectures, and many of them came to Horticultural Hall. Great abolitionists, politicians, literary figures, even literary critics filled the auditorium here at Horticultural Hall and had people talking, flooding out of the doors when the talk was over and talking for days afterwards about what had been said and what had been contended or demolished or whatever. And unfortunately that doesn't happen anymore, but one of the things that I want to stress just in this very brief video about Horticultural Hall is that we live in a better time. And that's not something I'm obsessed with the past, and most of my life has lived in the past, but nevertheless, I do maintain that, and any sane person should, that the Horticultural Hall version of the internet is much worse than the version of the internet that we have now. Now the internet, YouTube for instance, offers millions of hours of fascinating discussion on every subject under the sun, and it's all permanent and it's all accessible at any hour of the day or night from the comfort of your own bedroom, as opposed to putting on your best worsted wool and coming out here to stand in line and maybe standing with people you don't like. So I'm not really sure if there are even tours of Horticultural Hall that are available to visitors anymore. I don't know what you'd see. The whole building on the inside has been divvied up into office space, practice rooms for Berkeley. Boston Magazine is headquartered in this building. The whole building is owned by the Christian Science Monitor, which is that pointed dome right next to it. But I'm pretty sure that the inside, as much as it can be for such a historical building, has been divvied up with drywall and drop ceilings and whatnot. So even if you did have a tour, I don't know how much of it you'd see of what I'm talking about. But once upon a time, this beautiful old building was a locus of history here in Boston. So I thought I would give it its shout out. I'm going to wrap this up and get on the road, but more Vlogmas to come. Thank you, BookTube.